Good morning and welcome back to the kitchen. I'm so glad y'all stopped in today because guess what? It's a birthday celebration. 43 years ago today, God blessed our family with a little girl, and we are going to have supper together today and celebrate her birthday. So I'm going to cook some things that I've already videoed for y'all. She loves chicken spaghetti, and so that was one of the things she mentioned she would like to have. So I'm going to make her, I'm going to make several things, and if I make something that I haven't videoed before, I'm going to video it, and y'all will have a new recipe for 2 or 3 days that we're having today, which is August 24th, her birthday on Saturday. So I'm going to make, the first thing I want to talk to you about, we grow field corn when our garden makes. And we take it and you cut half of the kernel off and then you scrape the rest of it off so you'll get that milk scraped down too, but don't get cob in it. So that gives you a real milky looking, squashed up, mushed up corn. Well, I had an aunt that I've talked about before, Aunt Helen, made the best fresh corn. And somebody in the family couldn't say Aunt Helen and they called her Holly. So lots of times I refer to her as Holly, and we always call this at our house holly corn. So I'm going to kind of show y'all what it looks like in the pot right now, and mine didn't taste like hers, and she always would say shug. She said shug, you just cook it and stir it in butter till it turns that golden yellow color, and that tells you it's about done. Then you start adding milk, or you can add heavy cream, but I use whole milk. And just keep cooking it because it'll keep thickening. The starch in the corn will thicken it, and you'll have the most delicious creamed corn you've ever eaten in your life. And of course, y'all know me, I'm going to add a little garlic and onion powder, salt and pepper to it. But I want to take you over to the stove because I got some out of the deep freeze. And I'm going to show you what it looks like now, and then as I cook it and it changes to that golden color. So if you want to get some corn and scrape it off the cob and do this, you'll know what to look for. Let's go over to the stove and take a look at it. See, it's just that light yellow, raw looking color right now. And I put, this was a full quart of corn, and I put a stick and a half of butter in here to have it to cook in. And you have to watch it. See there, it's already wanting to stick. Okay, I'm going to stir this, and as it changes, I'll show y'all the different color. But it's just a real light yellow right now, as you can see. But if you'll watch in a minute, it'll turn to that good golden color. Then I'll start adding the milk to it for it to thicken up and make the cream. As you cook this corn, you have to scrape real often the bottom of your skillet. Now if you're using non-stick, it's not quite as big of a deal, but I constantly stir it until it starts to turn the golden color. You don't have to worry quite as much, but you certainly don't want it to scorch. So spend your time stirring it and keeping it scraped from the bottom. I don't know if y'all can tell or not, but it is changing colors a little bit. And it'll get just as golden, almost like a mustard color. It'll, as it cooks, I guess you call it browning, but it does change colors. So it's a process. It takes time to stand here and stir it, but it's very much worth it. It'll take me 30 minutes to get this corn ready, and maybe longer, but I just keep coming back over here and stirring it and watching it, and I'll be back when it's golden. The corn has turned a much darker color. This particular corn is not getting as yellow as I like for it to get, but the juice has cooked out of it and it's going to stick. So I'm going to go ahead and start adding my milk in, and I'll show y'all the progression. Okay, y'all, this is more of a method than an exact recipe. See how it's pretty? I had a good full packed quart of creamed corn. And in there right now, I imagine I've put about 3 cups of milk. And I'm going to let that cook down, and if it thickens down, then I'll add a little bit more. But you just add your milk and simmer it and stir it and let it thicken. And then when it's as thick as you want it, you taste it, season accordingly with your salt and pepper, and I'll put a little onion and garlic powder in it. But that's how I cook it, and it is delicious. I know you can't tell a lot about it, but the corn is done. It tastes amazing. It's thickened, and I've still got it simmering. You might see it bubble a little bit every now and then. But it's going to be a great side dish for our meal tonight. Okay, y'all. I hope you've enjoyed or learned something from this little lesson method on how I cook country cream style corn. It's there's no exact measurements to it, and I really hesitate to do something when I can't give you exact measurements. But that was probably a good packed quart Ziploc bag of scraped off the cob corn. And when you thaw it, it's kind of mushy and runny. And to that, I cooked it in a stick and a half of butter. And then when it got pasty, and I could tell it was drying out and all, I added a teaspoon of salt and a few things, a squeeze of black pepper from my new little grinder. And I put about a tablespoon of onion powder in it, maybe 1/4 of a teaspoon of garlic powder. And to that quart of corn, as it thickened in the beginning, I poured in about 3 cups of milk, and I cooked it down until that milk thickened into almost like a pancake batter, and as it sits there, it's going to get thicker. So I hope y'all have enjoyed this, and you can buy sweet corn in the store and do it. Sweet corn doesn't have as much milk in it as field corn, and I don't know where you can buy field corn unless it's from a farmer in the summertime. But it's a wonderful side dish if you can get your hands on some field corn to cut off the cob. You cut half of the kernel, and then you scrape it down with your knife and get that milky good stuff and the rest of the corn out, and that's what makes it cream corn. Hope y'all are planning a good supper at your house. It's birthday, I told you. We're going to have a good supper here, and for the next couple of 3 days, y'all will be seeing what we're having for supper tonight. Now, I think I told you already I'm going to cook chicken spaghetti, and y'all have already seen me do that, so I'm not going to show it. But I have a good spinach side dish coming up and the creamed corn, and I cooked some cream peas that was in the freezer out of our garden from a year ago, and I cook them just like I do purple hull peas or green beans. So you can look at those videos and see how I cooked the fresh cream peas. But I'll be back in a little while with another recipe and a yummy dessert coming up. The good Lord bless y'all. Now, behave yourself and do what you know to do. Be thankful, be grateful, love on your family, give them some 101 time, and come back here tomorrow.